anything connected to the internet can be hacked into. Hi, my name is Fabianna, and today I will be talking about school computer camera activity. My research question today is, to what extent are school computer cameras active during off-school hours in the United States? First, I will begin to talk about how students feel during this time. As stated on this slide, students feel watched, unsafe, and invaded in their personal space and comfort of their home. According to Teresa Matterson at NBC News in Philadelphia, she interviewed the student in which this incident happened to. The student states, "It freaks me out because what if I am at home just going to change to go to sleep and my computer happens to be open? It's a little weird that they can see what I'm doing." Blake Robbins was her name. Blake Robbins was a sophomore in high school when this happened. No one should have to feel or experience this. To better elaborate, take being followed somewhere. Maybe it's walking to your car or walking to the bus stop or a minute walk to work. That paranoia will develop every day, thinking that someone is watching you. Imagine its effects in the future. Another source is a student showed inappropriate behavior he was displaying at home. The proof was a snapshot taken of him by the school computer laptop. Would you believe it if I told you that the student was accused of taking pills that were really Tic Tac mints? These are teenagers. We all do weird stuff, but in the comfort of our own bedrooms. You would never think that someone is trying to spy on you. Moving forward, I will be talking about parent concerns. According to Michelle Miller at CBS News, who interviewed the mother of Blake Robbins, which I previously talked about, she states, I have small little children, a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old son. My daughter also was being spied on. They watched her for a week. Action was quickly taken as soon as Blake Robbins' parents found out. There was a trial that resulted in a $600,000 settlement. Obviously, if it was taken this far, this means that the camera must have captured more than just the children, probably the whole house, depending on where the camera was left. Another source by Frida Alim, who interviewed other parents, states, schools should not have to require students to use tools involuntarily or without express of parental permission. Many parents are enraged that they lack privacy in their own homes. Also, that schools should have more respect to let the parents know about the camera and its purposes. This raises the questions for why are they not being informed, and why aren't the cameras being used for its correct purpose? And who else have they seen in their house? Is it more than just their children or guests that they must have had over and wanted to keep as a privacy setting? Moving on, I will be talking about an outside point of view from several experts. According to Marcella Betonker, which is a part of the American Civil Liberties Union, she states, schools in Rhode Island feel just to spy on students through the computers, as they could be doing something illegal like drinking or doing drugs. This gives schools authority to check bags and lockers. Marcella Betanker's job as part of the American Civil Liberties Union is to protect and make sure that young teens know their individual rights. Outside of school hours, students do not belong to schools. Therefore, neither is what they do on their personal time. This gives schools no authority whatsoever on checking students' bags, as their actions do not reflect on the school off campus. Another source is from Elise Otachi, which specializes in Windows, Android, and iOS devices. She states that some software and programs are installed to spy on students, sends their data automatically to the cloud, and often without consent. Many students' main source of storing their information is by the school-provided computer, simply because they do not own one of their own. As they store their information on the laptop, it can be easily exposed. Students trust schools enough to store their information as they take them as more mature, and hopefully that they won't share their personal information. To continue, I will be talking about how schools feel justified at this time. Here's a quote from a superintendent named Christopher McGinley. He states, yes, we have the ability to activate students' webcams remotely, but it's strictly used for tracking lost or stolen devices. No, we didn't tell any of the students or their families about it. Oops, our bad. This shows that school has no intentions whatsoever on telling or alerting the students and their families. Schools feel that their actions were innocent and were not meant to catch anyone off guard. While they claim that they were only trying to protect and secure their property, it is not taken well by the students or parents. This leads me to my next claim slide of possible solutions that are safer for both parties. The first and second solutions are communications and alertness. Schools need to be verbally communicating with parents so that they are aware, and so are the students. The third option is acknowledgement forms. At the beginning of each school year, students are given a code of conduct form and many other forms that are sent home for parents to sign. This form should be included in the packet of forms so that both parties know of the spyware on the computer cameras. If the first three cannot be implemented by schools, students need to take matters into their own hands. This could be by covering their cameras, like the picture that I've provided on the slide, or with a sticky note or with a sticker. That is all that I have today for my presentation. If there are any further questions, please feel free to ask.
Okay, I do have two questions for you. How valid and reliable were the sources that you used, and how do you know?
Well, the sources that I used based on the student and the parent that were actually involved in this incident were direct quotes from themselves, like the words came out of their mouths and they were directly quoted. And the ones that were about the function of the spyware, these were actual technology experts who majored in these sources and the types of computers that are given in school.
Okay, and if you had the opportunity to give advice to people that were doing this topic in the future, what would you say to them?
I would say to look into more cases that have resulted in this, because I did have a little bit of a hard time finding other various cases that have been reported, because most are not reported, they just happen.